Hello and welcome to the Movement Project. Today's class is really going to challenge your strength and stability throughout the whole body. So listen to your body, make sure you keep good form and maintain a nice consistent breath. Okay, let's get straight into it. So coming up to the front of the mat, we're going to start off with our usual warm-up, our sun salutation routine. So reaching up to the ceiling, create space through the spine, take a nice deep breath into the belly, and then folding forward, hands down to the mat. And let's tuck the chin into the chest. Just allow the back to easily stretch into this, slight bend in the knees, and then coming up onto the fingertips. Okay, if we can't quite reach the mat, let's place the hands onto our shins, but let's keep that back nice and flat, breathing into our belly. And then placing the hands down on the mat and stepping back into our first press up plank. Okay, so a couple of modifications here. We can be down on our forearms, we can be down on our knees. So choose the appropriate modification for you. If we are in the full press up plank, make sure the hands are directly under the shoulders, elbows are straight, hips are level, and we're keeping the breath nice and consistent, breathing into our belly. Okay, a couple more breaths here. We can either drop to the knees and come down slowly, or we're going to come down in the full press up position, elbows by the side to just above the mat or laying on the mat, and then coming up into our upward dog. So again, we can modify this one. We can be on our forearms, even if it's just for the first one to allow that back to warm up. But if we are in the full upward dog, we're going to roll the shoulders open. We're going to breathe into the belly. So take another couple of deep breaths here. And then coming up onto the toes. And then coming into our downward dog. So first one of the session. Let's ease into it. We can have the knees slightly bent. Spread the fingers out onto the mat. And let's get the back nice and flat, sinking into the shoulders. You might have the flexibility to get the heels down to the mat, but don't sacrifice the flat back to achieve this. Okay, first one of the day. So start off nice and slowly, drop into the knees at any point if you just need to take a breather. And then from here, we're going to walk up to the front of the mat, coming up into standing. Okay, second set. Nice deep breath into the belly and folding forward. Hands down to the mat, tuck the chin into the chest and allow the back to stretch out. Slight bend in the knees, push the knees back to create a bit of tension in the back of the legs. And then coming up onto the fingertips. Again, we can place our hands onto the shins here, tuck the chin in, and let's sit back into the hips, push the knees backwards a little bit. We don't want them completely locked out. We want to get the back of the legs working here. Okay, and then from here, we're going to step back into our pressed up plank, and let's hold it here. So again, modify this if needed, down on our forearms or our knees. And let's get the breath going. Breathing deeply down into the belly. Making sure we're not dropping down in between the shoulders. And then from here we can either drop to the knees and come down slowly, or come down in the full press up, elbows by the side, down to the mat, just above the mat or laying on the mat. And then from here, coming up into our upward dog. Again, we can be down on our forearms for this one. It's quite a deep stretch, putting the back into extension, a position we're very rarely in. Breathing into the belly. And then coming up onto the toes and shifting back into our downward dog. So we're a little bit warmer now. Might be able to sink a bit deeper into the shoulders. Might be able to sink our heels closer to the mat. But let's keep the back flat. Keep the breath fluid. Okay, it's a really good exercise for strengthening up the shoulders. Our arms are very rarely overhead, holding load. So it's great for building stability around that shoulder joint. Really good for the upper back, an area of tension in a lot of people. And great for the back of the legs. So we're getting the whole body working in this pattern. And from here, we're going to walk the feet up in between the hands and coming up into standing. Right, third and final set. Reaching up, create space through the spine. Nice deep breath in and then folding forward. Hands down to the mat, tuck the chin into the chest. Push the knees back now. Let's get the back of the legs working a bit harder. And then coming up onto the fingertips or hands onto the shins. Let's sit back into those hips. Just gently shifting the weight a little bit back in towards the heels. And then stepping back into our press up plank. So again, choosing the modification that is suitable for you. If we're somewhere in between, we can come in and out of this full press up plank. So you can practice the moves. Drop into the knees at any point. Breathing into the belly. Just going to hold it here. It's a fantastic exercise for building strength and stability around the spine, around the hips, around the shoulders. And then from here we can drop to the knees and come down slowly, or come down in the full press up, elbows by the side. Just above the mat, let's hover here, or laying on the mat. And then coming up into our upward dog. Just roll the shoulders open. Okay, the breath is really key. Breathing down into the belly. And then coming up onto the toes. And coming back into your downward dog. So let's hang out here. Enjoy this moment where we're warming up the body, we're challenging the shoulders. But we're staying in control. We're finding that edge where we're challenging ourselves, but we're not losing control. Okay, 2 more breaths here. And then walking up, feet between the hands and coming up into standing. Okay, we're going to get straight into our one leg balancing now. So we're going to spread the toes out on our left foot, hands on our hips, and we're going to raise the right foot up off the ground. Okay, if this is challenging enough for you, stay here. There's no need to go any further. It's a fantastic exercise in itself. If you do want to take it to that next level, we're going to sweep the leg behind for our one leg hip hinge. So coming down, keeping the body nice and square to the mat. Okay, we can use the toes just to guide us. Let's keep the back nice and tall, draw the shoulders back. Okay, it's a really good exercise for highlighting any imbalances between left hand side and right. And then coming up in control and knee up. Okay, second set, sweeping down. If you want to take it a step further, coming forward into our forward hip hinge. Okay, it's really important we keep the hips square to the ground, the shoulders square to the ground. We don't want to be rotating to the side at all. We're really challenging that left hip to stabilize, to strengthen. And then coming up, it's a good opportunity to shake that standing leg out if you need to. We want to make sure all three reps are in good form. So staying here if this is challenging for you. If you want to take it a step further, we're going to sweep that leg back, come down for our third rep. So spread the toes out onto the mat. You may even need a stool next to you just to guide you, to help you learn the pattern. And make sure we're not grabbing hold of that chair and using it as our full support. All the while keeping that breath calm and consistent. And then coming up into standing. Good work. Okay, give that leg a shake out and we're going to swap sides. So get into good position before we start. Spread the toes out on that right foot. And we're going to come up, left knee in the air. So straight away you may feel a lot of difference between left and right. If this is challenging for you, stay here with the knee up and hold it there. No need to go any further. If you do want to take it a step further, we're going to sweep the left leg back into our forward hip hinge on the right hand side. So we do actually spend quite a lot of time on one foot during the day when we're walking. And if we're running, we're either in the air or on one foot. So we're never on 2 feet at the same time when we're running. So how we stabilize on that foot is very important. And this is a fantastic exercise to help build stability around that hip joint. Okay, and then coming back in control. Bringing that left knee up. Shake that leg out if you need to. If you want to stay here, if this is challenging enough for you, no need to go further. If you do want to take it one step further, let's sweep that left leg back for our second rep. So again, keeping the body square to the mat. Breathing deeply into the belly. Drawing the shoulders back. Staying calm and in control. We can always think a little bit deeper if you want an extra bit of challenge, but make sure that back stays strong and flat. We're not rounding through to achieve that deeper position. And then coming up nice and slowly and in control. Good time to shake that right leg out if need be. Take a couple of breaths here. Rejoin us at any stage. If you want to stay here, then do so. If you want to take it to that one step further, sweeping that left leg back and coming down into our forward hip hinge. So by now, third set, glutes, hips are going to be telling you they're getting tired. Really challenging position to do this correctly. You might be feeling it on the soles of the feet, around the ankle, Often highlights the area of weakness, a lot of these moves. Okay, a couple more breaths here. And then coming up nice and slowly. And coming up to standing. Good work. Okay, we're going to get into our squat position now. So set up the feet about shoulder width apart. The toes can be pointing out a little bit. We're going to have the hands out in front. We're going to take a deep breath into our belly. Then we're going to come down into our first squat. So keep the back tall, draw the shoulders backwards. Make sure the knees are in line with the toes, they're not rolling in. So we just want to push those knees out, create space in the hips. And we're going to hold it here. Okay, it doesn't matter how far down you get into this squat, we might be a little bit higher. Okay, if you're feeling something and it's challenging you and you're maintaining good form, then you're doing it perfectly. So let's hold it here. Let's breathe into the belly. And then coming up nice and slowly. Give the legs a shake out. Okay, second set. Spread the toes out on the mat, shoulder width apart, arms out in front. And let's go again, dropping down in control, shoulders back, elbows in line with the toes. And let's hang out here. Okay, we're very rarely in a squat position, so this is very challenging. Require good range of motion through the ankles, through the knees and hips and upper back to actually get down into this position. So I want even weight through the feet. Breathing into our belly. And then coming up nice and slowly and in control. Give the legs a shake out. Let's go for our third and final rep. So arms out, feet shoulder width apart. Take a deep breath into the belly and then coming down. And let's hold it here. So we're working slowly through these postures. It's really important we have good form. It's not about doing loads of squats and getting the heart rate up. It's about trying to retrain the body to move well and build some good strength and stability through these patterns. Couple more breaths here. And then coming up nice and slowly. Good work. Okay, we're going to get into our warrior pose sequence. So lining the heels up, back foot at 90 degrees, and we're going to sink into our left hip. And from here, if you want to take it a step further, bringing the arms up to shoulder level, keeping the body vertical, even weight between front foot and back foot. Now, if this is challenging for you, stay here. We can even be further out. If you want to take it a step further, we're going to bring the left elbow down onto the left knee. We're going to place the arm up, making sure there's no pressure going through that elbow. If you want to take it a step further again, we're going to reach the left hand down on the inside of that left foot. We're going to open up the body. The hand can be on the hip if it's too much, but make sure wherever those fingers are, or that elbow, there's almost no weight going through it. We're using the strength in our legs to hold us. And let's hang out here. If you need to come out at any stage, just come back up and rejoin us. Don't sacrifice your form to hold it. Okay, and then from here we're going to rejoin the first modification. So coming up in control, arms up, and then straighten that front leg. Going to pivot in and pivot out with the back foot. So again, line the heels up, back foot at 90 degrees, arms up, and then sinking down into the right hip. So if this is challenging for you, stay here. Make sure the body's nice and vertical. If you want to take it a step further, gently place the elbow on the knee and raise the left arm up. And if you want to take it a step further, again, reaching down and placing the fingertips of that right hand down on the mat. Again, arm can be on the hip if we're just working through this pattern. But wherever we're at, make sure we're not putting too much weight through those fingers or that elbow. We're staying in control, we're challenging ourselves. Let's hold it here for a couple more breaths, coming out early if you need to. Then coming up, rejoining the first modification in control. And then coming up into standing. Okay, so we're going to get straight into our warrior pose. So back foot at 45-degree angle, left foot pointing forward. Okay, so from here, we're going to slide that left hand down the inside of that left leg. Okay, it doesn't matter how far we get down, make sure the knee is nice and straight. And we're going to raise the right arm up. Okay, if we can get the fingertips down to the mat, I just want you to have them just touching and open up the body. Okay, hand can be on the hip, we can rotate the body. And let's hold it here. So this is a really good one for the back of that left leg. Through the inside of the leg. We're challenging rotation through the spine. We're balancing. And we're using strength to hold us here. So it ticks a lot of boxes. And then from here, we're going to bring that right hand down to meet the left hand. We're just going to hold on to either the front of the foot or onto the shin. Make sure we're not pushing onto that front leg. We don't want to put too much pressure through that knee. And we're just going to aim that forehead towards the knee. And then from here, if you want to take it a step further, we're going to reach the right hand over the left foot. And we're going to come up into our reverse triangle pose. So left arm up. Okay, it can be on the hip if need be. But this just shifts a lot of the focus onto the outside part of the back leg into the hips. It's quite awkward, so you have to balance. Okay, we can even have the hand down on the right hand if you're just getting used to the motion. Okay, and then from here, we're going to reach that left hand back down to meet the right. Let's tuck that chin and that forehead in towards the knee. And then coming up nice and slowly. Good work. Okay, pivot in and pivot out with that back foot. So set the back foot up at 45-degree angle, line the heels up. Let's lock that knee out and let's slide down on the inside of that right leg down to wherever you can reach. Okay, once we're here, we can reach that left arm up. Again, that left hand can be on the hip. The most important part of this posture is the folding forward and the rotation through the body, through the upper body. Okay, the arm up just adds a little bit of extra intensity. So again, a really good exercise for highlighting imbalances between our left hand side and our right. It just gives you good information moving forward, areas to work on. Okay, and then from here, we're going to reach down to meet our right hand. We're going to grab hold of that front foot and we're going to aim the forehead towards the knee. So again, the hands can be up here. If you can't quite reach the foot, it doesn't matter, but make sure we're not pushing down on that knee and pushing it backwards. It's all very gentle work through the hands, using our legs to hold us up. And then from here, if you want to take it one step further, we're going to reach that left hand over the top of the right foot and we're going to come up into our reverse triangle pose. So again, hand can be on the hip if need be. But whatever we do in control. If it's just too much, then come out. Slowly work away at it. Okay, results and strength and stability build up over weeks of practice and consistent work. It doesn't just happen in 1 or 2 sessions. Okay, and then from here, we're going to reach that right hand down to meet the left. We're going to just do one more sink into that front knee. And then coming up into standing. Good work. Okay, so give the legs a shake out. We're going to do one more standing posture. Okay, so coming into our lunge pattern, up on the back toes. Let's get into good position. So draw that pelvis in towards the bottom of the ribs so we engage through the abdomen. Okay, if this is challenging enough for you, stay here. If you want to take it a step further, reaching the arms up. And again, if you want to take it a step further, we're going to lean forward over that front leg, keeping the arms as close to the ears as possible, extending that back leg out, reaching forward. Let's hold it here in control. Breathing into our belly. Keeping that back as straight as possible. And then from here, coming back, we're rejoining the first modification. Draw the pelvis in. And then coming up into standing. Okay, stepping back. Right foot forward now. Up on the toes on the left foot, sinking into that front hip. Let's get into position, draw that pelvis up, close the gap, engage the abdomen. And then if you want to take it a step further, reaching up and holding there. If this is challenging for you, stay here. There's no need to go further. If you do want to take it a step further, we're going to reach out over that front leg, reaching up to the ceiling, create space, extend that back leg out. And let's hold it here, in control. Okay, a couple more breaths here. And then we're going to rejoin the first modification. Couple more breaths here. And then stepping up to the front of the mat. Good work, guys. Okay, let's drop to the ground for our floor routine. So, I'm going to start off on our back. Knees shoulder width apart. We're going to interlace the fingers. We're going to come up, tuck the chin into the chest, and we're going to start rotating. So making sure that lower back stays on the mat. If this is too much on the neck, we can just gently support the neck with our fingertips. Okay, so if this is challenging enough for you, stay here. If you want to take it a step further, we're going to extend the opposite leg out. So if we're rotating to the right, we extend the left leg out. And coming up, over to the left, extending the right leg out. Up and rotate. Making sure we're drawing in on that pelvis, the front of the pelvis in towards the ribs. We're not allowing that lower back to arch off the mat. We're going at your own pace, controlled, rotating to the right, extending that left leg out. Okay, you don't have to keep up with me or be in sync with me, but don't go any faster. It's about control, extending out. Coming up, rotating. And again. One more time. And then coming up, taking a breather. Okay, we're going to do 2 more sets of that. So let's interlace the fingers, roll the chin into the chest, roll the upper back off the mat, and let's start rotating. Okay, if you want to take it a step further, let's get into the leg extensions. So drawing out that right leg as we go off to the left hand side. Coming up, over to the right, left leg out. So again, you don't need to be going in sync with me, but don't go any faster. It's about control, making sure that lower back stays on the mat. Rotating round. Extend that right leg out, rotate to the left. Okay, and then coming back. Good work. Okay, we're going to do 1 more set. So interlace the fingers. Roll the chin up into the chest, come up nice and tall, and let's start rotating. If you want to take it a step further, let's extend the left leg out as we go to the right. Okay, if you're somewhere in between, you don't have to extend the leg all the way out if it's just too much. Okay, and on the next extension, we're going to hold it. So extending that leg out, rotating to the opposite side, and let's hold it there. So we're just working a little bit more on endurance here. Keeping that lower back flat on the mat. And then swapping sides. Extending out, tucking that chin in. Let's hold it here. Coming up, one more time on each side. And then one more time. Coming up. Good work. Okay, so we're going to get into our bridge now. So knees should be about fist width apart. Arms down by the side. And we're going to drive up the hips. And then we're going to come up onto our heels. So if this is challenging enough for you, just stay here. That's absolutely fine. If you want to take it a step further without losing control through the hips, we're going to raise the left knee up off the mat. Let's hold it here. So the key really is to maintain stability through that right hip. Okay, a couple more breaths here. And then lower down in control. Heel to the mat. And then raising that right knee up. Driving the hip up. So come out at any stage if you need to take a breather. I'm going to hold it here. Keep the hips level. Breathing into the belly. And then slowly lower down and drop the hips to the mat. Okay, let's get ready for our second set. So hands on the mat. Let's drive the hips up. Let's come up onto the heels. If this is challenging for you, stay here, maintaining those hips nice and tall. If you want to take it a step further, we're going to bring that left knee up and we're going to hold it here. Okay, this is really working on that right hip stability. Balance through the back of the leg. Just make sure that hip's not dropping. And then from here we're going to slowly lower that left heel down and raise the right knee up. And let's lift that left hip up. Okay, the hips will have a tendency to drop. Okay, it's a hard one to maintain. So let's keep on rechecking in, dropping back if you need to take a breather. Couple more breaths here. And then slowly lowering that heel and dropping the hips to the mat. Good work. Okay, third and final set. Try and get your breath back. And when we're ready, driving the hips up, nice and level, coming up onto the heels. If this is challenging, stay here. No need to go any further. If you want to take it a step further, we can lift that left knee up. And if you want to take it one step further, we're just going to get a bit of movement into the equation. So slowly lowering the hips just above the mat and then driving up. Coming down and driving up. Coming down slowly in control and driving up. Coming down and driving up. Two more. coming down and driving up. One more, coming down and driving up. Good work. Let's swap sides. Heel down, right leg up. If you want to take it a step further, let's add the movement into the equation. So slowly lower the hip down and then driving back up. Lowering down and driving back up. Lowering down, driving back up, down and up. Two more, coming down slowly and up. Last one, down and up. Good work. Dropping the feet to the mat. Okay, and let's set up for our final posture of the day. So extend the legs out, open up the feet to the ceiling, open the hands up. Let's close our eyes. Okay, this is arguably the most important posture of the day, where we allow the body to adapt, to absorb. So let's try and get the heart rate back down. Breathing deeply into the belly. So maybe placing one hand on your stomach, one on your chest. Okay. Let's take some nice deep diaphragmatic breaths, where the stomach rises right up. We're inhaling for 4 to 6 seconds in, holding it right at the top of the breath for a couple of seconds, and then breathing all the way out. Dropping the belly right down, empty the lungs, allowing 4 to 6 seconds on the exhale. Let's hold it at the bottom for a couple, and let's go again. Inhale, so just take check on how long your inhale is, and then match it with your exhale. So when we move away from this upper chest breathing, okay, and we start focusing on diaphragmatic breathing through our belly, we're able to access our parasympathetic system, our rest and digest system, which is fantastic for so many things, from anxiety and depression through to sleep, cognitive function, all the way through to sports performance. So if we improve our breathing mechanics, we have a massive impact on our body and how we perform. A really good one to do throughout the day. If you've got 5 or 10 minutes at lunch or before you go to bed, take that time just to focus on your breathing, to see where it's at. And if you've got 5 or 10 minutes here, stay where you're at. Enjoy this motion. It's fantastic to have you on board today. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I'll set you up for the rest of the day. I'll get you into a good frame of mind to fall asleep. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for joining me.